I was watching my daughter's kids while she and her husband went out of town. They have a teenage daughter named Alyssa. It was around 3 a.m. when I woke up by a weird rustling sound and looked out of the window and saw movement. I saw a boy emerge from the bushes on the other side of the house. I saw a bike tossed on the lawn that definitely was not ours. My first thought was that it was a burglar, casing houses, but since he looked young and came through on a bike, I figured scaring him straight would be enough for him to decide to head home. So I went out on the porch, flipped the lights on, and said,
"Can I help you?"
in my classroom voice. The guy looked surprised, but not nervous. He was wearing a Letterman-style jacket, but once I got a clear view of him in the streetlight, he seemed much older than my granddaughter, gruff and more wiry than athletic. He walked up close to the house and said, "Yes, I'm looking for Alyssa." I gave him a disapproving glare, hoping he'd realize he came looking for a girl late at night, and a grumpy old person answered instead, and that now it's time to split. I was thinking what must have happened is that Alyssa knew her parents were going out of town, and maybe before she knew I'd be staying over, she told a secret older boyfriend to come over. It was late, and I was alone with several kids, so I didn't want him coming any closer to the house. I also thought it was a bit weird that he came this late and wanted to be sure Alyssa actually wanted to talk to him. "I'm sorry, who?" I said. "Alyssa," he said. "Alyssa Lambert. This is her house." This showed me he knew her last name. They must be at least friends. I asked him to wait at the porch. He started to walk up, and I just felt this sick feeling in my gut. Instinct kicked in. I yelled,
"No, stop. This is a private property, and you will wait right there."
I closed the door, get to Alyssa's room, and wake her up, saying something along the lines of, "I don't know what the big idea was to have friends over at this time of night, but you can go ahead and tell them to go home." She looked at me as if she has no clue what I'm talking about. I said, "There's a guy outside asking for you." Confused, she gets up and goes to the window. She sees him and turns white as a sheet. "He asked for me?" "Yes." "By name?" "Yes." "Call the police. I've never seen him in my life." I grabbed the phone and called 911 immediately. But as I was on the phone with them, Alyssa started tugging at my arm. "He's coming up." I had younger kids in the house to think about, so I slightly opened the door, just enough to yell out and say that I spoke to my husband and none of us know any Alyssa. "Leave the property or I'm calling 911. The man got angry and started yelling for her to come out. Thankfully, the police came pretty quickly, and as soon as the man heard the sirens, he grabbed his bike and took off. I watched him pull up next to a car with no front headlights or plates and speed off. The police followed in the same direction, but couldn't find a thing, not the bike or the car. They then advised us to take Alyssa's social media details offline completely. Who knows what was waiting for Alyssa inside that car?